Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geary, Stein and Stevens Show, an amazing video podcast with sports stars, entertainment celebrities, and other great guests, combining one host who has no legs, one host who lives in Duluth, Minnesota, and another host who seems to never be on the show. But now, on to the show with Troy, Dave, and maybe even Will.
All right, hello, welcome everybody. It is great to be here. I am Dave Stevens, of course, coming to you from my home office here in Bristol, Connecticut. And of course, I am always joined by my partner in crime from Duluth, Minnesota. That would be the lovely and talented Troy Geary. Troy, how you doing today, bud?
I'm doing great, Dave. A little cold up here, but we're surviving.
It is cold everywhere, but we are going to heat up today, and I'd like to bring in our guest today. I could sit here for a half hour to introduce our guest today. An Olympian, WNBA, Old Dominion star, a who's who in the legends of the historic athletes, male and female. Nancy Lieberman joining us. Nancy, it is so great to see you again. We got together a couple months ago for the Celebrity Softball Classic, and we are just honored to have you on our show, part of the Geary, Stein and Stevens Show.
Well, thank you. It was great to see you. We had a lot of fun in Frisco, Texas. We reconnected with a lot of our friends, and here we are, right?
There's so much to talk about as far as your career, obviously starting out in Old Dominion for a long time ago. And again, you made such a great name for yourself at the college basketball level, really kind of putting female players on the map as far as you and Ann Donovan, and of course being an Olympian on the Olympic team in 1976 and getting that silver medal. And then of course being a pioneer in the WNBA, playing for the Phoenix Mercury and the oldest player in WNBA history. And it was just so great to see you playing at a high level, of course, and then coaching at that level in professional men's sports and being an assistant coach and really making an impact, doing something that was unprecedented in the history of sports. So we are so excited to have you here and to be a part of our show. So what's life like now for Nancy Lieberman?
Busy. I do the TV for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and I do have some games for the New Orleans Pelicans. So it's kind of fun for me. I mean, I'd be at home watching it, but I get to be their studio analyst and, two really fun teams in the NBA this year. And then, the Big Three, this will be my sixth season. It's the seventh season of the Big Three, Ice Cube's league. And I just love working with him, for him. He's iconic. He's super cool. And he's one of the nicest people I've ever been around. Matter of fact, I was just with him yesterday at the Basketball Hall of Fame. There is now, for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, there's the Ice Cube Impact Award, which will be given to somebody. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be famous. Somebody who just cares about people. We will find you. People, send us who you think could be deserving of the Ice Cube Award. He now has an exhibit in the Basketball Hall of Fame, and this trophy is unbelievable. I saw it yesterday for the first time. It's an ice cube. It is so impeccable, the sculpting of it, and in it, suspended, is a basketball, like a gold basketball. And somebody's going to have that in their house one day. But for Ice Cube to be in the hall, with something as significant as that, kudos to him.
Hey, and kudos to you. I mean, you have awards named after you. You are so humble as far as what you've given back to the sport. And that sport started, I mean, let's take you back to those Old Dominion. Like, what are some of your memories of what college women's basketball was like in those days?
Well, it was so important for me because, Old Dominion gave us the ability to play in front of sold out arenas every night. We won back-to-back championships. I had some of the greatest players in the history of women's basketball who I got a chance to play with. And, to win the championships and be player of the year and to maybe change the course of women's basketball. I recall that the first two championships we played, it was the first time the championship game was live on NBC. It was always tape delay before that. So You know, when Pat Summitt hugs you and whispers in your ear when we beat her in 1980 for the championship, she goes, "What does it feel like?" I mean, Pat Summitt was asking me, "What does it feel like?" And she was my, believe it or not, she was my Olympic teammate and Pan American Games teammate. We won the gold in the Pan Ams and the silver in Montreal. So, I mean, this woman was not only my friend, my teammate. I played for her, and I played against her. I'm glad we beat her. By the way, that's a sweet picture of me, huh?
Yeah. Well,
I
hey,
haven't had a blow dryer yet.
tell us quickly that there's a great story in '76. That Pat, you have a great story with Pat. Please share it to our audience. It really, you were kind of on the fence as far as everything, and bam, it really turned you around.
Well, I'm wondering, is that when I was 76 when she was my teammate?
Yeah.
We were so different. Like, I was, a poor little Jewish kid coming out from New York. And, I was only 17 years old. All my teammates were older, out of college by, pretty much that time. And, it was lonely. I felt like I didn't really have anybody to relate to or to talk to. And so Pat would always come and talk to me, just make sure I was doing okay. And, we were going to the Broadmoor. They're having a little luncheon, this beautiful country club in Colorado Springs. And I didn't have clothes. I mean, I had sneakers, probably with holes in the bottom. I had corduroy pants and a t-shirt. I didn't have anything. And I refused to go because I sat in my room and they come in. They're like, "Nancy, you got to go." I'm like, "I ain't going." And they're like, "You have to go." I said, "I don't have any clothes." And finally, they had one of the team managers, Mildred Barnes, take me to a store, get me a jacket, a shirt, some shoes. And then I sat at the table. I was so embarrassed. And there was a plate in a plate in a plate with 2 forks and knives. And I was mortified. I had always eaten on plastic plates and, plastic utensils. And whoever the man sitting next to me was, I wish I knew who he was so I could say thank you. Because he was like, "Isn't this stupid? I mean, who has a plate and a plate in a plate?" And he recognized that this was a, seminal moment for me. And I was, really embarrassed that I had not really been cultured. And, she was just really, Pat was great with me. When I wanted to come play at Tennessee, she goes, "You can't, if you transfer here, after my freshman year," she says, "everybody will think that I recruited you to come here." I said, "You're my teammate." And she says, "Nancy, stay at Old Dominion. If you quit every time there's a bump in the road, that's what you'll do the rest of your life. And you got to tough it out." And she said, "This will hurt me more than it hurts you because you'll probably end up beating us." And she was, pathetic with what she said because we did actually end up winning back-to-back championships.
For our viewers that don't know the story, tell us your first visit to Rucker Park.
I told my mom I was going to go play at the park. She thought
this is like the most incredible place for me because I played.
And I took the A train by myself from Far Rockaway, changed Manhattan, and went to 155th Street and walked in the park. And I had T-shirts in my jacket, so I looked bigger and kind of more menacing. And I was glaring at people. And I got to the park, and these, guys, the brothers were like, "Yo, little girl, you know where you are? Are you lost?" And I said, "No, are you?" And they looked at me, and I'm like, "I know this is Rucker Park, and I need to get good." And the guy goes, "This is like where great people play." And I said, "But it's Rucker Park, right?" And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "Is your name Rucker?" And he goes, "No." I said, "Good. It's not your park. Now, if you could help me, I would really appreciate it." And it cut through all, the nonsense of life. And they took me under their wing. And the guys rode the train back to Far Rockaway with me that night. Geary, Ronald, and Donald. And, we became, lifelong friends. And I was pretty much teaching my mom not to be racist or profile people because, we just respected each other, and they were very protective of me. And I can't tell you how many games I played you know, in my youth at Rucker, and people, you know, they're calling me Fire because of my red hair. Fire, touch the rim. I jump up, I hold the rim. I was like the carnival monkey at Rucker. But it changed my life, and I love going back there. And there's not one day that I've ever been afraid, because the people there, they love real, they love honesty, and they love when you're not afraid. And I'm not afraid.
Nancy, how much was that development and playing against men? How much better did that make you, because you had to play against the best in that park and they didn't want to let you in, and you really had to show yourself? So how much did that develop you into just not just a female basketball player, but a great basketball player?
Well, I became a critical thinker playing at Rucker Park. I had to figure out, how am I going to get into that first game? Because, you know, everybody shoots foul shots, and the first 5 are in, then the second 5 are in. It didn't matter how big you are, how strong you are, how athletic you are. You had to hit your foul shot. I would go home and I would just practice my foul shot, because I wanted to get in the first game. The first game was always to 15, so it would take 30, 35 minutes to play. If you won the first game, you got to play in the second game. That was the Willy Wonka golden ticket right there, that you got to play back-to-back games. Because if you got beat, you sat, you'd have to wait 1 or 2 games. It could be an hour. So it taught me a strategy. Then it toughened me up, because they kicked the shit out of me on the regular. It was crazy, but they toughened me up, you know, and if I had a fight, I had a fight. And it's just the way it was. But I'm so grateful for all my friends and my family at Rucker Park. You know, I was really raised by the Black community, because I was so protected, and it's a beautiful relationship.
It really, it's been amazing to see those relationships. And you talk about friends. There are other people that have come from Old Dominion. There's some other famous people, I think, that you might remember.
Oh,
A guy like Jay Harris, you know, you might want to say hi to Jay, Nancy.
Jay is the best. Are you kidding? Where are those Emmys? Oh, there it is. I
There
see
it is.
the Emmy.
There it is, right there.
He got so many Emmys. He talks to the devil, trying to not elevator. He's trying to work with Larry Fitzgerald, not dropping cheerleaders. That's an HR situation.
It is. It really is.
It's so
But
awesome to have ESPN anchor, my old buddy, and also a guest of the Geary, Stein and Stevens Show. Jay wanted to come in and talk a little bit for a couple of minutes. And Jay, you know, I'm going to make this a little bit easy for you. You know, you've had the opportunity to, you know, not only see Nancy, be a part of that alumni, but also what she's given back. And recently the college was able to give back to her by making her
A lot of
a
people in
permanent
life.
fixture.
They're very diverse, and I'm, you know, just extremely.
So tell us a little bit about what that day was like, Jay.
That was an amazing day. To see Nancy immortalized like that. Oh, look at that. That was so special. Even when I go back to ODU and see that statue, Nancy Lieberman Pass, driving down Nancy Lieberman Pass, hoping I don't get a ticket. But if I get a ticket, I'll just tell them I know Nancy and I'm good. It was a fantastic day, and it was kind of sad. And I'll just full disclosure, my mom died the day before, but I had promised that that I would be there on that day. I knew she was sick, so you know, life happens, and I said, you know, I'm coming because I'm gonna be there for Nancy, and it was a fantastic day, and it was long overdue. And she's just the best. She's the absolute best, and I love her to death.
What has it been like to be a sportscaster, to watch what her career has done, but then as she's walked away, given so much, building basketball courts, being an ambassador for little boys and girls to grow up and want to be like? I mean, it really is. It's the epitome of what we all want to be.
Well, when you find yourself in a position to where you can give back, that's what you're supposed to do, because all of us have had, you know, someone, some organization, some entity pour into us, at some point or another. So we're supposed to take everything that's been given to us and give it to other people. We're not supposed to keep it. And Nancy's known that for a very long time. So, I mean, she gives from her heart because it was given to her first. And we're all the better for it. And I appreciate her. I enjoy watching her. She is tireless. I don't know how she does, what she does, when she does it, but she is always on the go. And I just marvel at her. And love it. Like I said before, I love it to death.
Nancy, what are your memories of Jay?
Well, the first thing I want to say about my brother Jay is I love him very much. He is one of the most incredible human beings I've ever been around in my life. He's a great husband, a dad to his kiddos, and we are family. We'll forever be family together. We just finished doing a racial and social justice lecture series together here in Texas. To have Jay on a stage with myself and to be able to share his experiences and enlighten young people, it makes me happy. And he's the voice of Nancy Lieberman Charities, our Dream Ball Gala. He usually we'll try to play golf the day after, and then
You want to call it golf?
we have to have the whole place just like refurbish the grass. The divots are tremendous. It takes our whole budget to decide where he hit the ball. I didn't want to get into that, Jay.
I understand.
But no, on a serious note, we have this forever, never broken bond. We can talk about anything. We could agree, disagree, align. And it's very few times in life you have a kinship with somebody and it's all rooted in love and caring. And I haven't even said anything about the Emmys or, I watch SportsCenter. Every time I watch him, it's like the first time because I'm so proud of him. Just to see how he is with people. He's just an amazing human being, and he's my human being. And that's all you need to know is he means the world to me.
Well, he does to me. Jay, thanks for popping in. You got a quick story that you can throw before we go to break?
Probably nothing that I could tell you.
That's for beers at another time. All right. Jay Harris surprising us. Nancy Lieberman here. Don't go away. We're going to pay a few bills. We'll be right back. You're watching Geary, Stein, and Stevens.
Love you, Nancy.
Love you, Jay.
They can strike anytime or anywhere. You can have one while giving a speech at your best friend's wedding or in the middle of your uncle's funeral. It's called a wingasm, and it occurs when you bet and win with MyBookie. And this football season, enjoy more wingasms than ever with new features like early cash out. So you can pull out and enjoy an early wingasm, then bet those funds immediately. Tired of waiting all day for your money? We've increased the speed of bet settlement. And with enhanced game lines and live betting and streaming, you can bet right up until kickoff, then place more bets during the game. Oh, and what would a new season be without our $100,000 Survivor contest? And a super contest with a cash pot of $250,000. Have more wingasms, more often with MyBookie.
Whoa. She's totally checking me out. She's probably looking at my arms. Or maybe just the shirt. I mean, the shirt is my secret weapon. It shows off my arms and doesn't cling to my stomach. Who could blame her?
Hey, I like your shirts. You want to get out of here?
Unleash your confidence
And then,
with fresh clean
I
threads.
knew we did the show, the high school.
We're back here with Nancy Lieberman. I got another question for you. You talked about how your mother didn't really support your basketball career and your desire. How did you keep that desire and love of the game and not get discouraged by the naysayers, the people growing up?
Everybody has their story. I wish my story was like, Bird or Taurasi or Sabrina Ionescu or Tamika Catchings, where, I could play 15, 16, 17 years in the WNBA and everybody was cheering me on and supporting me. It's okay. That wasn't my lot in life. I'm a girl from the 60s and 70s. There was no WNBA, barely gender equity. I didn't realize I was the first full scholarship athlete for female at Old Dominion University. I'm very grateful to them. And so every step of the way was a challenge because I was proving myself. I can play against guys. I can play against women. I needed an opportunity. And I'm grateful because it toughened me up. And it clearly, as time has gone on, you understand that you're a pioneer or whatever they call you, a trailblazer or something of that nature. It just means you did something for somebody else and you showed them the way. And if they think I'm a pioneer and a trailblazer, as I tell my friends in the W, who are phenomenal, by the way, you're Sabrina Ionescu, Sue Bird, all these, Kelsey Plum, Asia Wilson, Chelsea Gray, they are all pioneers. There's going to be a little 3-year-old, 4-year-old right now that is going to make $1 million or $2 million a year in WNBA when they get older because of the women and what they're doing right now, what Brianna is doing, with what everybody else is doing. So we are highly connected to each other. I mean, look at Katie Smith and look at me that was playing at 50. She was my teammate. And, you don't get angry. I'm a victor. I'm not a victim. And so I had to play for the Lakers in Summer League in 80 and for Pat Riley. So I played for the Utah Jazz and Frank Layton in 1986, or the USBL, which was equivalent to the NBA G League. That was where I was in my career. So I played at 39. So I played it at 50. I just wanted my kid to know what his mom did. So I played as much as I could wherever I could. And I was happy to eke out a year in the WNBA in the inaugural season in 97. And then that's really launched my coaching career in the W, in the G League for the Mavs. Certainly with the Sacramento Kings as the second female assistant ever. And then to get a call from Ice Cube in 2018. And he said, I want you to be the first female head coach in a men's professional league. And I was like, really? And he goes, and the good news is you'll be the highest paid coach in the league. You will make what Dr. J, Gary Payton, Michael Cooper, Rick Barry, Rick Mahorn, Clyde Drexler, George Gervin. He goes, tell your agent at Octagon, you won't have to negotiate your salary. That's equality at the highest level. When somebody says this is how it's going to be, that's why I love Ice Cube. He's a man of equality. I mean, people throw DEI around like it's Skittles, just for optics. And he actually didn't even have to say that. He just said, you're the highest paid coach. It's pretty cool stuff, right? And we win the championship in 2018. And, Cube, he celebrates me. He doesn't tolerate me. And I really appreciate that. And I've had a great life. I mean, I get to do the TV for the, Oklahoma City Thunder. I get to do TV for the Pelicans. I get to be around some of the greatest athletes in the world. I'm so blessed beyond comprehension. Shame on me if I ever said anything negative because people are so good to me.
Recently, we started asking fans to submit questions. So we have a question from Tom Tinter in Sarasota, Florida. He said recently you were just in Sarasota to honor Dickie Vitale, part of your charity, through a basketball court. He wants to know how you started that process of donating courts throughout the country, and how many are you up to now?
Well, first, his name is Richie. That's what his mom called him, Richie Vitale. We know him as Dickie V. He's amazing. He's been a friend of mine for over 30 years. So the Dick Vitale Dream Court, we wanted to honor somebody who's given so much back to the game. He cares about children. People adore him. It doesn't matter what generation. And We currently have 128. We'll open up another 10 or so in 2024. We did the courts for Kobe, for Vanessa, I said, to honor Gigi and Kobe. We have ones for Billy Crystal. We have the ones we did for Steph, the Curry family. You don't have to be a celebrity to have a dream court. We put it in places that have boys and girls clubs, PAL, Park and Rec. We want kids to have a place to breathe, to live, to, with mental health issues. Just sometimes you just need to be out there in the open with friends, or even by yourself, and just, sometimes be still. And so we were so happy to do this in Sarasota. It actually made me happy to do that for Dick and Lorraine.
Well, it's awesome, and it's been great to know Dickie V, and to hopefully he's beaten the cancer and things are going great, and just the things that you do continue to amaze me, Nancy, as far as what you do off the court. I think makes more of an impact almost than what you did on the court. And it's great to have you here. Troy's got to head out because he's got to get some real basketball going. He's officiating tonight. So we're going to take one more break. When we come back, Nancy and I will finish up this. Troy, say goodbye, and you get out of there and don't crash on your way to the basketball game.
Yeah, be safe.
Thanks, Nancy, for coming on. It really was an honor. Thank you very much.
No, thank you so much.
All right. We will keep this show going, pay a couple of more bills. Stay with us. Don't go away. This is Dave Stevens, and now my co-host, Nancy Lieberman, on the Geary, Stein and Stevens Show. Hi, everybody. Dave Stevens from the Geary, Stein and Stevens Show. And Troy and I are on the road all the time covering games, doing things, my motivational speaking. But I have connected with LifeWave, which has really changed my life. And it's an amazing patch that not only helps me to live my life, it keeps me very active. Tammy Wellman is joining me. And now, Tammy, you put these patches on me. It is a stem cell regeneration plan. But tell us a little bit more how it works.
Yeah, so these patches are amazing. They're wearable wellness. They're non-transdermal patches. Nothing goes in your body. Your body gives off light. They capture it and they activate your body's own repair system. Your body goes to work to heal things that are in need of healing. Pain reduction, things like that.
It gave me an opportunity to play in the Celebrity Softball Classic. This video of my base hit, I wouldn't have done it without these patches. So please, if you want to know more about this product, go to patchit.life. LifeWave, it's changing my life. Hi, everybody. Dave Stevens here for the Geary, Stein and Stevens Show from Tropicana Field, home of the Tampa Rays. And you know what? Not everybody can be a Major League Baseball player, but you can look like $1 million. What's the best way to do that? Well, go to freshcleanthreads.com. Don't believe me? That's right. You can look professional, feel good, and not spend a lot of money by wearing Fresh Clean Threads. They have amazing shirts. They've got Henleys and polos, long sleeves, and even bomber jackets. And if you like them, you can save some money by typing in the show code GSS Show from the Geary, Stein and Stevens Show to save 20% off. So if you can't be a major leaguer and you want to dress like one, well, go to freshcleanthreads.com. That's freshcleanthreads.com. Tell them Dave sent you. Use that code GSS Show. And we also want to welcome our new sponsor to the show. That's right, mybookie.ag. This is amazing because these guys really help people and bettors to make money. They've got a great website that helps you kind of get through the things that you don't understand. But if you sign up to mybookie.ag right now, you use the show code GSS Show, you get a 50% match on top of your deposit up to $1,000. So let's say you deposit $100, you get an extra 50. You deposit $500, you get $750. You sign up for free. It's an account that is going to continue to help you down the road. And of course, we want to be there for you too. So we'll have guests and people to talk about all these things that are betting. Troy just walked away. He knows a lot more because, you know what, I'm not much of a gambler. I took a gamble on playing sports without legs, and that was enough in my life. So make sure you go to mybookie.ag, type in that GSS show code, and you can make some money. And again, they're going to match 50% on that very first deposit. mybookie.ag. All right, now I've got my co-host, actually our guest for the final segment here, and Nancy Lieberman joining me. And as I said, there are so many things that we could talk about, and the places that we could go. But first, we talked about your son and what he just went through. He's safe, but he was overseas when all of this started taking place. And I want to know what it was like when you first knew he was over there and the moments that took place after that as you were trying to communicate with him and find out if he was safe.
Well, this is the second war TJ's gone through playing. He's been playing in Israel for 6 years. But Friday night, the 6th of October, we're FaceTiming that night. He's talking to me about they start their season on Monday. He's so super excited to get through training camp. And then on Saturday, the 7th, I got up, I think in the middle of the night. I went to the restroom. I always check my phone. There must have been around 15 messages. And I called TJ and I'm like, TJ, what's wrong? He goes, Mother, don't you know what's going on? Don't you know what's happening? And I said, no. And he goes, turn on the TV. So I turned on the news. There was nothing on Fox, on CNN, on MSNBC. There was nothing. I said, TJ, I don't know what's happening. He says, Hamas terrorists have come over and they're in Israel and they're killing people. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So I have a highlight reel of my career. I guess the terrorists have a highlight reel of the inhuman destruction that they do to people. And when they went into the music festival and killed and horrifically killed men, women, children, babies, they go back into Gaza and they were showing people, that was their highlight reel. I guess that's how they ascend in their army, the status, and it went viral. So now it was coming out that this act of terrorism was happening. And so we were trying to get him out. I mean, I think the Euros and the Jewish people, Israelis know when there's, something happens, they get on a plane and they go. Well, then American canceled, United canceled, Delta canceled. There were no flights out. And we're sitting there going like, I got to get my kid out. My first thing after a day or two is, I'm calling all my political people. I mean, I'll email President Obama or, President Bush, people that I have known. The mayor of Frisco, Texas, Mayor Masso. And so finally, Beth Van Dyne, Congresswoman, she called and she goes, I'm your person. And she says, I need all the information on TJ because he has dual passport. And she goes, Mom, tell TJ he's going to get a phone call from somebody. He won't know the number. Pick it up. And just tell him that I will handle this with him. And she flat out said, TJ, pack a bag, whatever bag you're taking under the plane, pack it, put it by your door, your carry-ons, juice up your phones and chargers. She says, when I call you and say it's go time, do not tell me you need 20 minutes to pack. It's go time. And so to my son's credit, he's got 4 teammates, Americans. And he pretty much said that if you don't let me take my teammates on the plane with me, I'm not going. I'm not leaving without my teammates. And these are his buddies, African-American guys. That's all you need to know about TJ. He wouldn't leave him without his brothers. So they go to the airport. This plane is coming in, the rescue jet. It literally looks like it's coming down. It goes up, turns, and leaves. And they go, what just happened? And the lady said that the airplane didn't have insurance to land in a war zone. So he calls Congresswoman. She goes, we're going to do it again. And like in a day or so, 5 rescue jets are coming. 4 were canceled. 1 made it. It was his jet. And the guys got on it. They shoved as many people as they could. It took off. They went to Athens. Really, it's the most hopeless feeling you have as a parent. There was nothing that I could do. And you didn't know, like we were like, maybe we can get him out through Jordan. And she goes, he has dual citizenship. If he goes to Jordan, they'll kill him. They'll see his Israeli passport. Okay, well, let's drive up the gut from Eilat to try and get to Tel Aviv to the airport. She goes, you have to go through the kibbutzes and those communities. And we don't know who's a friend or who's a foe at this point because Nobody knew how many terrorists, had infiltrated Israel. It was crazy. I mean, to see him back here, oh my gosh, the tears were real, long and hard. And I'm grateful to Homeland Security. I'm grateful to Congresswoman Beth Van Dyne and everybody who helped me get TJ and his teammates home.
Nancy, help us. We don't usually go this place on this show, but to have you here and being so vulnerable, what is it like when you can't control when you're hated just because of how you were born? And an entire world now is up in arms just because of a Jewish nation. And again, I can't comprehend, when we're all the same, why there is so much hate towards such a small minority when they really haven't done anything to anybody.
Well, I would say this about Jewish people, and like I'm a Messianic Jew. I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. I'll always be Jewish. Jesus was a Jew. I always tell people I got Jesus and Moses on my team, so my backcourt is set. But Jewish people, they were enslaved by the Egyptians hundreds of years ago. I always tell the two greatest atrocities, and I'll answer your question, in the world is slavery and the Holocaust. And there are people that say slavery never happened. There are people that said the Holocaust never happened. So that right there is ignorance. My brothers and sisters, they have been suppressed for so long, and Jews had been suppressed for so long. We should be in lockstep with one another every step of the way, because that's how they were treated for centuries. And the Jewish people, they just want to live. They don't have the Iron Dome to shoot at you. They have the Iron Dome to protect themselves, because they're in a region, Israel is like a diamond. And, you have Syria, you have Jordan, you have Lebanon, and then you have, Gaza. They're surrounded by enemies. They have offered a two-state solution, but Hamas is not interested in two states. They're interested in one state, which is the elimination of the Jewish nation, because that would allow them to control that area, that swatch of area. Israel is not bigger than New Jersey, the state of New Jersey. And the other thing is, let's say it wasn't the Jews. Let's say hundreds of years ago, it was Irish people that were forced, or German people, or African people. So would Hamas want to kill them? Yes. It's just, it's not the group. It's the people who are living on that land. And they feel that if they, Israel is like a dot, and they're surrounded. But, they have worked so hard to be a westernized country. They're one of the top tech, nations in the world. They have to protect themselves. And I know people will disagree with me. The man that I loved and protected me and mentored me is the greatest, most famous Muslim in the world. I love Muslims, and that's Muhammad Ali. He changed my life. I had him for 37 years. He was all about love and kindness. And I really believe that most Muslims, that's who they are. And I've never met a bad Muslim. And we can be inseparable as people. But when terrorists, the indoctrination of children is horrible, because they grow up hating you. You haven't done anything. It's like, white supremacy. You grow up and you hate Black people. That's horrible. But that's all they know because of the indoctrination. And, for our young people, they don't even know what they're marching for, these kids on campus. It's like, what are you marching? I remember when George Floyd was murdered. And I said one day, what are you marching for? What's going on here? I don't know. My friends are here. These beautiful babies don't even know what they're doing. I mean, you're sitting here marching for terrorism. That's horrible. And I feel bad for the Muslim people, the Palestinians. who live in fear. First it was the PLO, then the PLO was so bad and murdering their own people and taking they were living in poverty. And then they thought in 1972 or 75, they would vote to bring Hamas in. Hamas is worse than the PLO.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, these people, the leaders of Hamas are living, like rock stars in mansions and have billions of dollars. It's so beyond our level of comprehension. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. It's just
hard to believe this happens.
And it's sad.
But I'm for love and kindness and
absolutely.
Trying to
well,
work
then
it out.
let's catapult to something that was about love and kindness, because I've enjoyed the last few years watching how women's college basketball and professional basketball has evolved. And recently in Iowa, we had the opportunity to see one of the greatest events ever, an outdoor basketball game with one of the greatest college basketball players. What are your thoughts on her and what this moment was like for not just women's basketball, but basketball everywhere?
Caitlin Clark's a phenomenon. She is generational. And I've had the privilege of getting to know her. And even last year at the Final Four, she had won my point guard.
You won your award, yeah.
And, it was during COVID, and we said we were on a Zoom, and I was like, Caitlin, I don't know when we meet. I don't know how we meet, but when we do meet, it is going to be powerful. And she's walking off the court, and we just looked at each other, and she hugged me, and she just took my hand. She says, you're coming in the locker room during the Final Four last year. It was really a very important moment for me, because you want young people to care about you or to respect you. Her game is next level. She might be the greatest player since Diana Taurasi, especially on the offensive end. And just her economic impact to the game, the ratings, selling out every game. She could come back if she wants to Iowa. She's making so much money with NIL. God bless her for that. Any athlete who can make that type of money, you're bringing. It's a business. It's not just a sport. So I'm really happy for her. I'm happy for the Angel Reeses. I'm happy for some of the great players in women's college basketball. The ratings are soaring. The arenas are packed. I tip my cap to Bally's and Fox and, Fox FS1 and ESPN for ABC for putting these games, WNBA games on TV. And now that the casual fan gets to see how great female athletes are. And they're not just focusing on, like the body, that's what we see, optics. They're focusing on, the competitor, how they play, their determination. The game's in great hands.
And speaking of great hands, you actually have been mentors as some big stars. You had a great training relationship with Martina Navratilova the day, helped get her back into shape to win some tennis matches in our advancing ages. Tell me a little bit of what Martina was like as an athlete, but also how you helped to motivate her.
Well, Martina's very special. The fact that, she had come over here, she defected, she wanted to be a part of America. The one thing that I would just say to her when we first met is you have to have this desire. On your worst day, you have to be better than people on their best day, including Chris or any of the other, Andrea Yeager, Tracy Austin. So she was such a nice person. It was like, she was like the little sweet person, and I was like the little devil. Win, win, win. You got to focus. So that's how I was. And just, trying to give her a sense of history and what she could be in 15 years, not just where she was, at 24 years old. And she was amazing, and she was very grateful. And I'm very proud to not only have helped basketball, but have helped tennis. Billy and I laugh. I gave her the Cal Ripken Senior Award last March in Baltimore. And Billy and I have known each other through Martina since I was 22. And we had a chance to just sit there, reminisce, and just talk about where women in sports has gone. And it's, you never think growing up playing sports that you're going to have this type of impact. My job is to take what Ali wanted, his legacy, his love, his passion, his discipline to take what Billie Jean sacrificed for all of us. As long as I'm young, I'm healthy, I'm energetic, it's my job to carry out their dream. And then there's women behind us, and they're doing the same thing. We're all connected. Whether people like it or not, we're all connected. Like I said, there's WNBA players right now. You're going to make somebody in 20 years a multimillionaire just because of what you've done. And I applaud all the great women who are playing sports and making a difference.
As we wrap up, and I've been so happy to got to know you, and we played softball together, and you touched on, I don't have legs, so I say I'm leaving my legacy as far as what I've done. What is your legacy? How do you want people to remember you? I know you're very humble, but you're an icon. You're a Michael Jordan. You're a Cheryl Swoops. You are all these things that have done so much more. So how does Nancy Lieberman want to be remembered?
I think I'd like to be remembered as somebody who gave more than she took from the game. And I've been given a lot from this game, but it was kind of part of that never stop working, wanting, or dreaming. And the first part of my life I was learning, the middle part of my life I was earning, and now I'm returning. As Ali asked me, he says there's two people in life. There's givers and takers. I would like to be the giver. And I want to be able to help male athletes, my friends, and I want to help female athletes. And I just appreciate how people treat me.
And you are just a beacon. It is so awesome to have seen you, get to know you, and know you are the same way, and you're still competitive. I see you throwing up half-court shots over your head all over the place. Tell us, as we leave, the foundation, and how can people donate and find out more about what you're doing?
Thank you for doing that. If we're always looking to be on a super team with people, and if you have a heart for giving and a heart for children, go to nancyliebermancharities.org. Look at our programs, see what we do, education, sending young kids to college, building dream courts, their pop-up classrooms. We have, racial and social justice lecture series. We just do so much with kids to put them in a great place, to network them to their next, their next place of greatness. We want to be dream givers, not hope stealers. So that's what Nancy Lieberman Charity is about. We have about 5.5 million kids a year that we work with, and we're better for it because all these young kids inspire me.
Well, thank you for being a part of our show. And I got to ask the question, you set the WNBA record at, was it 37? You set it at 50. Is there any chance in the next year or so we can get that mini Minoso thing where you could come out and play? Because you still got game. So
I can play. I feel good. I have a new knee 3 years ago. I can run, jump, play tennis, golf. It doesn't matter. Basketball. My son would kill me. TJ would kill me if I came out of retirement again. And TJ plays for me in the big three. So, I'm going to focus my energy on Team Power and Catino and Royce White and Glenn Rice Jr. And we're going to try to win a championship again.
All right. Well, best of luck, and I hope our paths cross again in the near future. Nancy Lieberman, thank you for joining us here on Geary, Stein and Stevens. Troy Geary out officiating. Will Stein, I don't know where Will ever is, but thanks for joining us again. For all the people that follow us, support us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all those places. I'm Dave Stevens for the Geary, Stein and Stevens Show. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Geary, Stein and Stevens Show. Follow us on social media. Watch us on yourhometv.com, or now we're on Roku. Download it and watch us. And thanks for tuning in. Until next time, America.